Shout out to everybody jumping on MJMG Presents SHU Radio every Monday, 9:30 p.m. We bring you entertainment, education. We bring talented people of all walks and likes. And today we fall not short again. I had the privilege of having a short conversation, but it felt like talking with a good friend for a long time, so there was a lot of laughs. This person not only has the ethics of hard work, right? But he also has the humor, the headspace, and the time and energy invested in the art to understand the opposites of just genre, but add into the creation of great music. Yes, he might be a country artist, per se, if we had to box him in, but an artist nonetheless, and an amazing human being on top of that. Without further ado, let's introduce the one and only Noah Claunch. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Oh man, first and foremost, thank you for jumping on the show. I want to send a big shout out. I see people saying much respect in the chat, so I want to send a shout out to everybody that's jumping on right now, whether you're on TikTok or Instagram. MJMG presents Apple TV, Google TV, and all the other TVs. First and foremost, we got a good time to talk up before the show and have a good conversation. But one thing that I want to start with early is, what was your introduction to music? And then we'll go into where you from, for those that don't know, and we'll get into the little litigation. But like, what was your introduction to music?
So my introduction, I'm third generation musician, and so my grandfather, started the whole thing, and my father went on to do play drums, and he's a great singer, and then I kind of was raised in a musical family, so I really had no choice.
Real no choice. For those that don't know and they need to find out, or they will know today, tell us a little bit about where you from. I mentioned your background in music, but give a little brief synopsis of who Noah is.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm originally from Bakersfield, California. I live in Las Vegas now, but my heart's always in Bakersfield, and it'll always be my home first and foremost. And being from Bakersfield, it's a different culture. You're brought up as really a lot of country music there, and it was everywhere when I was growing up. And like I said, my grandfather started out. He was the guy that gave Merle Haggard his first job, and all that stuff. My father went on, and so I was raised around it. It's everything. I mean, I couldn't imagine anything without it.
So I know you play a lot of instruments. Was your first introduction to music instrumentation, like learning that, or how did that process go?
So I didn't talk until I was 8 years old. I had a really bad speech impediment. I actually went to speech therapy for years and years and years to learn how to get all my letters and everything together. But my mom had an old antique piano in the garage, and I didn't go outside because people made fun of me, right? Because I sounded like Helen Keller, you know what I mean? And I was a wada, but no. So it was always there. Music's always there, So I had my mom teach me how to work her actual record player, and I had a Ray Charles album and Jerry Lee Lewis album, and I literally ran the needle through both of them, trying to learn to play like them. And I would sit out there in the garage and just bang on the keys until I could figure out, okay, they're in this. I use my ear, they're in this note. I didn't even know what it was, but they were in that note. And I went to my pastor, oh, that's a C chord, or that's a G chord,
Wow. So now that's I would not have known that you said till you was 8.
I was 8 when I finally started. I spoke, but I didn't speak to a lot of people, just my mom and my brother, really.
Okay.
Because like I said, it's the world's rough.
Yeah, it is.
And a lot of people are mean.
Especially kids.
Yeah, exactly. And so when you sound like that, it gives them an easy target, and they take it every time.
How did as a 8-year-old and younger, how did you manage that? You know, like how did you maintain between that? You know, we spoke about kids being harsh and people in general. How did you do it?
You just kind of stay quiet and stay to yourself. And like I said, at the end of the day, I'd come home and go into the garage and bang on that old piano that half the keys didn't work, and that's literally was my entire life. That was my best friend.
Kind of like your escape, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We spoke. So once you got into that aspect, I mean, your penmanship, like we listening to the song "Slow Dancing," which is one of my favorites. There's a lot more, y'all. Y'all could go check that out, but that's one of my favorites. But your penmanship and your voice is very direct and demanding of listening. How did you develop into that?
Listening to a lot of great singers and stuff and trying to sing like them. Sitting with trying to imitate the old saying, fake it till you make it, you know? And so just listening to people that I admired and I liked their music and stuff like that. And then trying to, in private, of course, you know, trying to sing like George Jones or trying to sing like Ray Charles or trying to sing like these guys, you know, and never achieving it, but giving it, you know, everything I got.
That's
So,
that's
yeah.
that's impactful right there. Like I think we all, any artist of any type, could relate to that completely. Now, do you remember your first song? Do you remember the first song you penned yourself?
Pinned myself. Yeah, it was absolutely terrible. Um, uh, it was this song that I wrote for this high school girlfriend of mine, and it was more of a poem than a song. I can't even remember the name of it. I couldn't even remember how it went, but it was just some slow melodic thing that I felt, you know, because what is that old saying? Music succeeds where words fail.
Fail.
And so
Yes.
and so it's one of those things where, you know, I can't remember the name of it. I remember the mood I was in when I wrote it. I remember where I was when I wrote it. Um, one of those things.
One
I
of those
actually wrote
things.
it. I actually wrote it when I was in detention. Um, they had us in
That's
the
one way to maximize your time.
they had us in the choir room, you know, and there was a piano, and I sat down with the piano and just kind of banged on it a little bit, and that's where I wrote it.
And you wrote it. Now
Yeah.
you mentioned coming from a musical background with your family, so I assume you always had the support of going into that direction. But you as an artist, when was it that when you said, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go in this direction? Was it always there, or it was kind of like a struggle between all the other things we grow up trying to fight through?
You know, music was one of those things that I did for fun. It was never what I saw. This is going to be my career, and I had every intention to go to medical school. Um, and I studied my tail off, and I did the work, and I did the whole thing, and then one day I saw this video of Garth Brooks being shot out of a cannon. This is a true story. And he got shot out of a cannon. I guess he went too high than expected. His hat kind of lifted off his head and he went like this. But I thought to myself, I was like, that's what I want to do with my life.
You want to get shot out of a cannon, no?
Yeah. I still haven't done the cannon thing, but you know, I'm afraid now. It'll probably hurt. But I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be the voice for the people that kind of society forgets. You know, sing about real stuff and talk about real everyday struggles and real things. You know, it's like, so coming from a musical family, I got to spend a little bit of time with Merle Haggard, and Merle actually told me, I asked him once how he stayed relevant through all these years.
Okay.
And he said, don't ever lie to your audience. He says, don't sing about stuff you don't know anything about. Like, I'm not going to go sing about, you know, surfing because I'm not a surfer. But if you want me to tell you what it's like to not worry about, you know, paying your bills or your everyday struggles, things like that, a love that's gone bad, I got I got you there.
I got
You
you.
know what I mean? He said, don't ever lie to people. Always be true and upfront because they'll know immediately.
And then you don't got to keep up with your lie on top of that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the hard part. Now, you did music for kind of fun. You come from a musical background. Could you explain that feel? And I always ask every artist this because every artist has some type. It's all relative, but the experience is a little different. Your first time hearing your own voice on a vocal recording.
Oh, I still hate it. I still can't stand it. I've been doing this like I think 23 years now, 22 or 23 years, and I still can't stand it. We're our own worst critics, but it's not about. It's kind of like when I go play these shows around the country, and I, songs that I can't stand personally, but the people like them. So it's, you know, it really comes down to not what you like, but what other people like. Don't get caught up in the mess of, oh, I didn't like my tone there or what, because not everybody's gonna like it, but somebody's gonna like it.
Someone's gonna. Yes, right. And I hope the artists that are on listening take heed to that, because as an artist, that's one of the biggest things, especially as an engineer and artist. Everyone, when they hear themselves, they're like, oh my gosh, man, I sound crazy. I sound crazy.
And sometimes the beauty is in the mistakes.
Thank
It
you.
really is. It really is. Like, there's so many signature melodic sounds and stuff like that that wasn't even supposed to be there. Like the famous Merle Haggard bend. Roy Nichols played that and he messed up.
And
But
it
and they
was
just left
magic.
it. And now it's
Yes,
his signature thing.
that's right. Me and shout out to Miss Jackson, MJMG presents. We always talking about how the imperfection sometimes is the gold. It's the gold
Yeah.
piece to the mantle. The chat is saying nice guy, but there's an interesting question that I'm gonna jump in with this one real early. There was like any
Uh-oh.
exposure to hip hop.
Oh man. So yes, a lot of exposure to hip hop. So I was raised in an area that was predominantly white people, you know what I mean? And my brother, when you have an older sibling, you always want to be everything like your brother, right? You strive for it. And they're to you, they're like a god, right?
That's true.
You listen to what they listen to. You try to dress like they dress. You want to hang out with their friends. And I'm 7 years younger than my brother, and so there's a big age gap there. And I applaud him for letting me like hang out sometimes with them and stuff like that. But one of my first exposures, and I told you about this earlier, to hip hop was the NWA song "F the Police." I ain't gonna cuss, but I'm this. Now imagine this little white boy sitting on the street corner with his Ninja Turtle, lunch pail and his Transformers backpack. You know what I mean? And I'm standing outside my school waiting for my mom to pick me up in our, Jeep Honcho pickup, and standing out there and I'm screaming "F the police" as loud as I can. I have no clue what I'm in kindergarten. No clue what I'm even talking about. And yeah, I got in trouble for that one. I didn't even know I was in trouble. They had to explain it to me.
Like, listen, you know what you're saying? You're like, no. Nah,
Yeah, I've got to work with these guys. It's awesome, man. I just love it.
I had to laugh at that because when I saw that question, I was like, yeah, we just touched on that. We just touched on that. So, was there a moment in your musical journey that you was indecisive of continuing this? I think that's something that a lot of musicians and people face, or some people succumb to it. But if there was a moment, what happened to bring you back?
Every day. When this is something, doing what we do, that's only a third of the population on the planet can do it. And so you have to think about like that. If it was so easy, everybody would do it, but it's not. And so it seems very frustrating. We talked about that. I moved someplace where there was no music, trying to get away from it, but it always comes back because I feel like it's what I was meant to do with my life, and it's my spark or whatever you want to call it. And so um, it's just little things, for every small failure that I've had, there's been this massive explosion of success. And it always happens just as you're about to give up, just as you're about to say, I'm done, I'm selling all my equipment, I'm moving someplace where they'd never even heard a musical note, I'm completely done with this stuff. It seems like God always comes in and he always delivers big every single time, and all of a sudden it'll happen, but it's never going to be easy. If you're looking for an easy job, go flip hamburgers. This isn't it.
This ain't, well, most definitely this is not it. Speaking of, this is not it and it's not easy. So as you started to find your voice, make your music, go through the ifs and the don'ts. Let's talk about when you solidified that moment to say, you know what, I'm stepping in this and I'm owning it, and this is me. This is who I am and what I want the people to see.
Probably. So they were doing a Kern County Museum. Bakersfield is in Kern County in California, and so there's a Kern County Museum that has a Bakersfield like exhibit for the Bakersfield Sound. It's a huge deal all over the world. Not so much in Bakersfield. It's kind of weird but there's that old saying, a prophet's not respected in his own town.
Yep.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things. But they have these Bakersfield things, right? And like a fundraiser type thing for this exhibit every now and then. I don't know if they still do, but they used to.
Okay.
And I went to one. And it turns into like a jam session. So I get up and play, and I sang, and everybody liked it. And the feeling that I got when I was on stage, I was scared to death. I was scared to death so bad that a friend of mine ran and got my mom and put my mom like front row and said, "Sing to your mom." And that's that's a true story. And so I sang to my mama. I was like, I'm not afraid. I was a mama's boy, man. I'm still a mama's boy. My mom passed on, but I'm still a mama's boy.
Blessings to you and family on that.
Yeah. And so I sang to my mom, but it was in that moment I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is it. It's like something clicked. Nothing else. I was working in an oil field job, breaking my back every single day, slinging, pipes, swinging hammers, everything like that, hurting myself every single day just to try to scrape by. And I traded in a steady paycheck for the unknown.
For the unknown, right?
Yeah, smart move, huh?
That's what makes us. That's what makes us who we are. Was that in the what year was that?
Oh wow, that was well, I can't accredit it just to that moment because that was like 2007, 2008, in the oil field. The oil prices dropped, and I couldn't really take care of myself anymore.
Okay.
And so I had to do something. And music, the good thing about music, it never really goes into it never really goes into recession. It just kind of gets hidden. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we weren't supposed to be playing, but even during COVID, but we went out and played. And to take care of ourselves, we had to.
Gotcha.
So it's one of those things. It's that kind of, I learned, okay, I can turn this into a business if I really stick my head to it, and just get on the grind every single day. Work as hard as I was working, swinging that hammer.
Talk about it.
And just dive into it full force.
And in 2008, you was named vocalist, right, of the year?
Yeah, for Kern County. It was pretty cool. It was a pretty big competition, and I got to go through the whole experience of it was my first ever competition. You know what I mean? So the nervous jitters, and I got to see the whole process of it being voted on, having someone judging you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
It's,
Um, but I got through it, and God willing, I took home the trophy, if you want to say.
you did. You sure did. You sure did.
Yeah.
Was there, and not to bounce around, but was there ever a moment in your creative journey that you felt you got a little big head and things were coming and just the feel of it and kind of lost track a little bit?
It's easy to do. And we were talking about fluffing earlier. You got all these people, especially when you're the young, you know, hot thing in town or whatever. Um, you get all these people coming to you promising the world, you're so great, you're so this, you're gonna be this, you're gonna be that, and your head starts to puff up because after a while you start to buy into it. And you kind of lose the fact of nobody owes you anything.
Anything.
This life does not owe you anything. You have to grind and work for everything you got. If you wait for someone to hand you something, you're gonna be waiting your whole life in the desert looking for water.
That's true. You're gonna be in trouble.
Exactly.
You're gonna be in trouble. So
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
you got the 2008 Vocalist of the Year award. Tell us, walk us through, because I know in 2012 you also got some other stuff. You got some awards. He's a humble guy. I'm gonna call him Triple H. Hardworking, humble, and humor. He got the total package. I'm gonna call him Triple H. But let's talk about after 2008, going into 2012, where you were in your musical journey and career.
Just trying to figure it out every day. Back then I was playing all the honky tonks in Bakersfield. Trout's nightclub was a big one. It's now a parking lot. I was laughing saying it's funny but not really funny. Most of the places I played are now parking lots.
Wow.
Banachek's Lounge was a huge one. I played there for years. Trout's nightclub, like I said, the El Cajon Club, all these prestigious Bakersfield honky tonks. And that's really what I did. I just dove in trying to play as much as possible, get in front of as many people as possible, even if it was things that you necessarily don't want to do. Stuff for charity. I'm not saying I don't want to do charity. That
No, I
that
get
came out
it.
wrong. But anything you can to get in front of people, that's really what I was doing. I was just trying to do literally anything. We adopted a couple of troops out of Afghanistan and Iraq, and literally we went and sent care packages over, and all of our tip money, got put towards making these care packages. We do anywhere from 60, 80 boxes at a time going to different countries, things like toothbrush,
Wow.
things like, feminine hygiene products, stuff that is not your normal everyday army issue stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it really, that was a point of just making it about helping somebody. But because I was doing that, it's kind of like one of those things. It's kind of like a domino effect. I did that just out of because I knew some people in the service that did things like that, and went over and fought for our freedoms and things like that. And I was like, well, let's do something to give back. But then you never know who's watching, right?
Yep.
And so all of a sudden, it's on back in MySpace days. This is back before Facebook. All of a sudden, I'm on the news talking about what I'm doing, and it's like a domino effect. Like I said, you never know who's watching. Always try to make everything you do positive, and trying to help other people. There's a old saying: you can have anything you want in life if you try to help everybody get what they want first.
That's wow. They saying right now they shouting you out on on social media, giving you big shouts. I want to commend you on that, because that's something that we could always add to our lives is offering and giving. And sometimes we take things not into consideration, especially like the items that you mentioned given to the soldiers. So salute to you on that. Salute to you on balancing that and keeping human. Now you mentioned something real instrumental. You mentioned it was the MySpace time at one part of the conversation, and now it's like the concept of what MySpace is. It's everywhere. Like it's Instagram, TikTok. It's everywhere you can name them. How difficult is it now for you as an artist between how artists have to project themselves in so many outlets and still be a musician?
It's very difficult because I'm not one of those people. I'm terrible about it. And I told Miss Jackson about this too when we were speaking. I'm terrible about it because I don't think about me. And so like I think, oh, I gotta go to work so I can take care of my kids. You know what I mean? So how can I make money? How can I get after the hustle? But it's important, I guess, to get online and to go live and let the public see you, even if it's vulnerable. But it's a different world, and it's a weird balance because you have to remember to do it, and that's the thing.
Yeah, it is. It's like another job.
Yeah.
It's like another job. It's so harsh. We got a question from our chat, and it says, what is your feel with Beyonce making your genre trendy?
Well, Beyonce is a great artist. I'm not going to tell you that, you can't knock success. I think a country, to me, is more than just a genre. Country, to me, is your everyday stuff. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are. It doesn't matter what your background you are. You can find somebody singing about stuff you're going through. And so if she's coming over and making it trendy, that just brings another set of eyes to what you're doing. Yeah.
True
So,
indeed.
and it gets you in front of people that would have never even played your record. But you have a chance to win those people over now.
That's true. That's true. This is the mind of a mastermind right here. He's giving y'all the gems of how to do this, and how to maximize your exposure. Now let's talk about like a little bit of now, like right now as using artists. What's going on? I know we have Working Hands is out, right? Working Hands is out.
Yeah, Working Hands is out.
Working Hands is out. I've been checking it out. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk a little bit about Working Hands and working on that, and what was your goal to project for you?
So my goal was to sound like me. I had just seen, I don't know if you ever saw the Johnny Cash story, Walk the Line.
Yes, most
The
definitely.
movie Walking Phoenix.
Yes.
I had just watched that, and there was a line in the song that really stuck out, and I'll remember it till I die. He went in, and there was when he first went in to get a record deal, and he went in to sing some songs. And they were like, he was singing some old hymns that everybody has covered, and he was just trying to do what was popular.
Mm-hmm.
And the producers weren't buying it. And he said, one of the producers said to him, I don't want to hear that. He goes, if you were laying in a gutter dying, what do you want people to hear? What do you want the story about you? What do you want to be remembered as? And that's how he started singing Folsom Prison Blues, right? And all of a sudden he's a megastar. But that line right there, so the whole idea of this album was to try to represent who I am, to give my stories and what things I've been through, not try to make stuff up, not try to be something I'm not, just be who I am and let the world see who I am. And I was very fortunate with the producer I had, a guy by the name of Mark Palladino out of Los Angeles. Amazing producer. He's been on some mega hits, worked with some mega artists. And he was.
Could you name drop real quick? I can't just
Yeah,
let you
man.
I can't just let you get away with that real quick. Throw it in there, no one know. Could you please name drop a little bit, just a little bit?
From Palladino.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So Mark Palladino, actually, he worked with Jimmy Ivy, worked on the Belladonna album. Stevie Nicks Belladonna album. He was one of the people that came up with the idea, to put different artists on there with her, because at the time, female artists weren't getting played by solo artists. And so he came up with these different ways to put different artists as duets and different things, features, to get them played. And so he worked with NWA, Tupac, all this different stuff. Jane's Addiction was a huge one. All the Billy Idol stuff back in the 80s. You name it. The guy's been there. He's done it.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you to ask you to name drop. The reason why I wanted you to do that, because I wanted to show the accolades of this producer to know, and I wanted everyone to know, working with you, he's seen the same pipeline, because he's not going to invest the time in something that he might feel isn't. So I wanted to give body of, having this producer in your corner. So please continue. You too humble. You too humble. I got you. Man. I got you.
No, he's an awesome producer. What was cool about him is he even said, he goes, I want this to sound like you. I don't want it to sound like me. I want it to sound like you. He goes, I'll put my 2 cents in, you know what I mean, on here and there on what I think you should do, or change a line here, or do that, or this, add this type of instrumentation, all that different stuff. But he goes, I want it to sound like you. I want it to represent who you are and capture you. And I believe Working Hands has done that. And he sent it off to Bernie Grunman in Hollywood, mastering engineer. He's the master of mastering engineers, I believe their company is. And they did some amazing work. I don't think it would have been half as good as what it is without them.
There you go. What's your favorite song on Working Hands?
Oh man, this goes back to hearing yourself being recorded. My favorite song on Working Hands, honestly, we covered a Ray Charles song. And it's a song called Jealous Kind.
Okay.
And it's one of my favorite songs because of the memory I have tied to it. My mom, when I was a little bitty kid, I remember standing on her feet and holding onto her hands and dancing to that song. And so it brings me back to that memory.
Blessings to you and your family on the loss of your mother, my brother. Yeah. There's a fun fact about you on the chat right now. And that fun fact was you was on the phone with Suge.
Oh yeah, yeah. Right before he got locked up.
Before he got locked up, yes, that's exactly how it says. Before he was incarcerated, you was on the phone with Suge. I don't know if I want to know the conversation.
Oh no, it was just he's actually a pretty intelligent, nice guy, and then when I found out he went to jail, I was like, what in the world happened? I just talked to that guy like a week ago, No, through Mark Palladino, because Mark Palladino produced and engineered a lot of that Death Row stuff and the Ruthless Record stuff. And so he got to know like Suge and stuff like that, and through him, that's how I got to talk to him. And it was interesting because I'm a huge Tupac fan. A lot of people they look at me and they go, no, you're not. And like, yeah, no, I'll sing along. You know what I mean? And so, I recorded on the same set of headphones that Pac had on when he recorded Dear Mama.
Wow.
And that's a huge thing for me. You know what I mean? But because of all that, and that learning all the different things that came with that album, like that album was supposed to be like a 1-song single. and they were like, "Oh no, you're supposed to have a full album." This is a story I was told,
Okay.
and said you're supposed to have a full album. He went inside and wrote that whole album in like 20 minutes.
That man was a
It-
beast.
yeah, and I'm just like, what in the world, And but that whole experience was just, it was amazing. Getting to work with the musicians that are on the album, famous musicians. JD Manis, who literally he's still guitar player, literally played with Elvis.
Look
You
at you.
know,
You. How does it feel personally? Like you just mentioned recording with the headphones that their mama was on. Like you mentioned a lot of legendary individuals that you were in the space or got to speak to. For personal rewards, how does that make you feel?
it's surreal. Um, you grow up listening to these guys and admiring them and everything else, and then all of a sudden you're standing where they stood, or playing, getting to hear them play your music. And I mean, this guy, like for instance, I talked about JD Manis earlier. JD Manis is a god in the steel guitar world. This guy is as big as it gets, and I've listened to him. I guarantee if you've ever heard a song, you've heard JD Manis. This guy's been on everything, cross genre, doesn't matter. Eric Clapton, Tears of Heaven. Yeah, he was the steel guitar player on there. I mean, it just all over the map. Louis Von Taylor was on the album. He's Cool in the Gang's band leader. He was with Ray Charles for years, and I mean, these people. Kerry Park was on the album. Kerry Park has been on, I think it's like 6 or 8 #1 hits. Strawberry Wine with Dana Carter. I mean, you name it.
It
And
goes
it's
on.
just, yeah, you grow up listening to these guys. And then when they're playing your music, it's just like the whole time I'm just sitting there like jaw dropped. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Please pinch me. You know what I mean? And
So
they're expensive.
and they're expensive. That yeah.
Yeah.
Don't leave that part out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So on the show, there is one question that we always ask everyone, and I'm
Okay.
so curious to see your viewpoint. If you could look at the young Noah and tell yourself something, what would that be and why?
Don't get distracted. Don't worry about what other people are saying. Don't do anything like that. Don't look left or right. Just keep your eye on the ball and keep moving it down the field. Um, just keep on the grind every day. It's easy to get caught up in the, did you hear what she said about you, or this guy said about you? And with social media, that's even easier.
Oh yeah.
You know, now, and so I just think I would tell myself, don't get distracted. Just keep pushing. Just worry about what you think about yourself.
That's important. I think a lot of distractions and kind of like, we got to build up the confidence level to trust your ears and your heart for yourself and not have it being an outside perspective.
Yeah.
So in the future, where and what Noah is going to be doing in the future? Like, what's the game plan for the later on?
I'm just living life every day as it comes, and I'm waiting on God to make his decisions for my life. That's the big thing. Whoever your God is, you know, mine happens to be Jesus, but whoever your God is, wait on them to make their decisions for your life, and just keep on the grind, and stuff will happen. It'll start to unfold.
That's deep. And I also like and I would like to thank you for sharing a spiritual sense and even considering people. Like a lot of people, like you just said, whoever your God is, because if you're walking in the good, whatever that looks like, then we all could benefit from that. So
Exactly.
to you, as an artist, what is the most important thing to you as an artist?
Being real, um, being approachable and real, not not getting caught up in the nonsense. But it's like anything else, like being a songwriter, I believe that, if I was a painter, I wouldn't paint what I thought was a masterpiece just to put it in the basement. And so keep recording, keep putting stuff out, keep trying to help people every step along the way. And don't get caught up in the nonsense.
That's powerful. I always crack a joke. Don't let your songs catch dust in your hard drive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why did we do it? Like, make sure you put it out. Miss Jackson said, being coachable.
Yes. That's a biggie.
Speaking of coachable, in order to be coachable, you have to have a team of people around you. How important is, team to you? And if someone doesn't have a team, what you think is the best approach for developing that?
A team's everything. You can't do everything. And be humble enough about yourself to admit in front of people that you don't have any clue what you're doing. That's the first step. You're figuring it out. We're all figuring it out. But I think about building the team. Somebody that doesn't have a team around them. I've been fortunate, and God blessed me with relationships with people over the years that, I've not only worked with, but I've learned to call my friends. And just being real with people, I think, is the real thing. If you go in arrogant and you go in someplace, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that nonsense in their life. But listening, when people talk to you and tell you to do something, shut your mouth and do it.
Shut your mouth and do it.
Exactly. And it's really what it comes down to. Playing football my whole life, I played linebacker. I didn't play quarterback. I didn't play, nose guard. I didn't play any of that. I needed those guys in position to do their job in order to make my job possible. And shutting up and listening to the coach, because he knows that playbook way better than I do. And they can, and as a team, other people can see things that you don't see.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. I hope everybody out there was taking some notes. I hope all the artists that were out there take some notes, is because it's very important. I think with social media and how easy things are accessible now, the concept of team kind of gets misconstrued or even bypassed with, I got this, I could do this, I know it all. I saw so and so say this, and it's like you didn't hear the whole thing. You just heard a little sound bite, and you think So I think that is very.
And I noticed too, if I can interrupt you, one thing I noticed too is a lot of people think that their team doesn't know what they're doing, and they think they're their team, and they don't respect each other's position and stay out of each other's lanes. And that's a big thing too.
That is an extreme. I think that's that's what collapse most set up for teams, because people don't trust in the positions that people are in. Most definitely on that. Again, I want to send a big shout out to everybody. So before we let him go, and anybody got any more questions, I wanted to go into this one record that I also was kind of feeling myself, and it's off the Working Hands project. It's called Gotta Get to Know You. I like that one. So we're going to go into a quick break for those that have been on that didn't get to hear the first song. Now you're going to hear this song to get a vibe. And if you got any more questions, please feel free to put that in the chat, whether you on TikTok or Instagram. For those that are on the app, I'm sorry you can't get your questions in, but we're going to start working on that with a mail-in and even a call-in in the future. But let's check this out. It's Gotta Get to Know You, and we'll be right back.
Out to share a few laughs, make some memories, toss a few back. Find some party crowd and just disappear. Feeling good and talking smack. Billy said, boy, would you look at that? Down at the end, sipping on a beer. I didn't know what I said, but I had to try anyway. 'Cause girl, I gotta get to know, gotta get to know, gotta get to know you. Gotta get to know, gotta get to know, gotta get to know you. Every little thing you do captivates me. You're making my mind go crazy. Girl, I gotta get to know, gotta get to know, gotta get to know you. I asked her what she was drinking. I could tell right away she knew what I was thinking. Shooting smiles and trying not to screw it up. She asked the band to play some Whitley. Tried to be cool, but then the alcohol hit me. We danced till they closed the whole place up. I said, I kinda like it when you call me baby. She laughed and then she called me crazy. I gotta get to know, gotta get to know, gotta get to know you. I gotta get to know, gotta get to know, gotta get to know you. Every little thing you do captivates me. You're making my mind go crazy. Girl, I gotta get to know, gotta get to know, gotta get to know you. Billy was my best man yesterday. Never thought I would feel this way. As I lift your veil and look in your eyes, I'm so glad that I realize I gotta get to know, gotta get to know, gotta get to know you. Gotta get to know, gotta get to know, gotta get to know you. Every little thing you do captivates me. You're making my mind go crazy. Girl, I gotta get to know, gotta get to know, gotta get to know you. Gotta get to know you.
That right there was Gotta Get to Know You from the mastermind himself right here. Listening to the songs that I did here and playing back this one as well, I feel the sense that you take from live experiences and formulate the concepts to your song. How important, not just for you, but how important you feel artists should really adopt using their lived experience to express their art.
I think it's very important. You know, like I said earlier, you know, this is an expression of who you are. So everything I write about is about stuff I've been through or I've watched friends go through. You know, I've seen different things like that and I've experienced it. I personally went through it, like I said, it's I can write about partying all day, but I don't party. So why do I need to write about that stuff, right? At the end of the day, this is something that I need to show the world who I am as an artist. And these are expressions of who I am. Stories about me.
Very powerful. And please, I believe every artist most definitely should adopt that. We know we're in the era of everybody getting their flowers. But here on MJMG Presents SHU Radio, we give out honor because flowers do die. And I know I cracked the joke earlier and I said, this is Triple H. You know, hard work, humor, and the crazy headspace, right? But to give him his honor, I would like to take this time to tell you, like, I know in your music, in our conversations, in your tone, you faced many hardships in life, and you kept the headspace of keeping not only into your music, but into your spirituality and the dedication of your viewers and listeners to your art that you can reach. I want to give you most definitely a round of applause and an honor for keep going in your music. Even when those moments were probably gray, even when those moments were in doubt, you always circle back to who you are. And here at SHU Music, by way of MJMG Presents, we want to give you your honor, my brother.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. So, before we let you go, is there any words, last things you want to say? Most definitely tell the people where they could get you, where they could get your music, plug in all the stuff you got going on and you want the people to get to. The floor is yours.
If you're here in Vegas, come see me. I'm there all the time at Old Red, right there on the Strip, Flamingo and Las Vegas Boulevard. Blake Shelton's Old Red. I'm there probably almost as much as I'm home. It's all over. The album's all over all your major and some stuff I've never even heard of. Streaming services, iTunes, Spotify, all that, SoundCloud, all that stuff. Check it out. I know as an artist, I would love for you to hear it, and reach out to me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. Reach out to me and let me know which songs you like, or even what songs you didn't like. That's cool. Go. Start a conversation.
Let them know.
Yeah.
I got a question. The Blake Shelton venue, it's not on the street level, right? You got to go up some steps or escalator.
Oh no, it's on the street level.
It's on the street.
Yeah, it's right across the street from the Bellagio fountains.
Okay.
It's right there on the corner. It's a freestanding building, not in a hotel. It's pretty cool. I think they call it the Bazaar Shops.
Okay.
That's what they call that area. It's kind of like an outdoor mall, but they built this. There's two actual 3-story big clubs there. And it's like a big dinner theater.
Okay, man, I only been to Vegas once. I'm acting like I know. I'm trying to remember. I thought I saw it, so I was trying to place where I was. Shout out to my man Booker O. We was out there for the NAB.
Well, come on back.
Yes, most definitely. And now that I know you doing your thing there, that most definitely be a stop.
Cool.
To check out. I want to thank you for your time, your energy, and the music and the essence that you share, especially the advice. It's really stabilizing, keeping people in a headspace. So I don't want to take that for granted, and how powerful the word that you share is. So most definitely thank you for that. Now before I let you go, there's one last question, and I think that's a good way to end it off. And that question is 2 words, and it's very simple. What's next?
God's plan.
Answer like a true champ. God's plan. He got his ears, eyes, as well as his heart open, and he's waiting for the signs to do what he got to do, and he's going to put who he is all into that, man. I want to thank you for coming on the show. We most definitely, I could say it on the air. We most definitely gonna have a conversation. Shout out to MJMG Presents. But we most definitely got our ears open to see what God's plan is for you and how you deliver it to the world, my brother. Thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Again, if there's anything you want to shout or say, the floor is yours, and it's good.
I just want to thank you guys for having me. It's been awesome. I look forward to seeing and talking to people, and seeing what the future holds.
God's plan, right?
Sir.
What God plan. I like that one.
Yes, sir.
Like that. The chat is saying thank you. Miss Jackson said tight lips, Noah. And there was a lot of hearts coming out of TikTok. So salute to you again. You have a good night and keep blessed, my brother.
You too. Take care.
Right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Shout out to everybody on TikTok and Instagram, as well as the MJMG Presents app. That was Noah Claunch, and he is a country singer, but every time I say he's a country singer, I feel like I'm boxing him in, but that's what he does. That's one of the things he does, but he's a musician at heart, and he said a lot of things that I like. But if you didn't get anything, and before we do that, I'm gonna let me just set up my favorite, my song, Slow Dancing, real quick. I'm gonna set up Slow Dancing so I can have that one on the exit. We can have that one on the exit. Ms. J said he was being modest. He was humble. He was a humble man, and it's gonna take him far. He's been in a lot of places, and that's what I was gonna get at. If you didn't get anything out of today, anything that he said, anything that he did, take this. The humbleness, the power in humbleness will get you in some of the rooms that will build you to the next empire. And I say to say, he mentioned some of the legends, some of the conversations, some of the peoples he had. And he didn't use it as a badge. He didn't use it as a promo run. He used it as something, as inspiration for him. Like he said, with an appreciation. Yo, I had the same headphones as Tupac that he did Dear Mama. And that right there was so powerful, because the appreciation for what he was doing in the moment he was doing it, amongst others who did it, that will always take you far. If you don't love the thing that you do, and I'm a extract love from it. If you don't honor and appreciate the things you do, the steps you doing it will be lighthearted. It won't be a fulfillment. So therefore, what you receive out of it won't be the same thing that you're hoping for, because the energy you put toward it is half-stepping. So have that appreciation. Maintain the humbleness, which will allow you to continue in those spaces. So that way you could put all of you to get all of it back and take it where the big plan is. Whether it's God for you, whether it's a spiritual, whatever it is, like he said, whatever the plan is. But in order to see the plan, you got to do two things. You got to be humble enough for people to accept you in spaces, and you got to be willing to get in those spaces. So keep your humbleness, keep the hunger. Keep the hunger. And I'm going to switch to Triple H. Keep the hunger, the humbleness, and the hard work. Be your own Triple H. And I'm not talking WWE. I'm talking about WW for real, okay? Shout out to everybody that was on tonight. Shout out to everybody on TikTok. Shout out to everybody on Instagram. Shout out to everybody on the MJMG Presents app, Apple TV, Google TV. We were broadcasting all over today. We had Noah Claunch on. He's a musician, artist, country, you name it. And I'm going to close out with this song called Slow Dancing. I like the story to this. So shout out to everybody on. If you're a creative, remember, be your own Triple H. Humbleness, hard work, and what? I'm going to leave the last H to you. Have a good night, y'all. This is MJMG Presents SHU Radio.
Another day, just another place. Same old routine. Then I seen your face. Without warning, I was stunned by your charm. When you left, girl, you took my